They need to eliminate a substantial part of the world's population. Now there's documents, a 1974 document written by the United States government, signed by Henry Kissinger and Richard Nixon, where they're talking about the need to eliminate 3 billion people off the face of the earth. One of the ways to lower the population numbers is make people go hungry and they'll starve to death. Do you know what I mean?
Under the Homeland Security, or FEMA if you want to call it, they're going to declare an emergency, which are going to shut down everything. My friends, my CIA associates, I don't even call them friends anymore. CIA is crooks in action.
Yeah.
They're all professional liars.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to be if they have that job.
Yeah.
So that you have to look at what they're doing. Anyway, they're so concerned they're leaving the country too. Meanwhile, they're closing in every day right now, just closing in to make it so we're going to be set up in these enemy prisoner war camps. I published a book. It's called Chaos in America. In it, I was asked to build an enemy prisoner war camp. I put the contract in this book. So you can read it for yourself. This is in downtown Las Vegas, right on the railroad tracks. It says enemy prisoner war camp. They're all on top. And they're building them all the way across the United States right now. Bush signed an executive order taking the old forts and the army places that we shut down to get those organized to hold the so-called dissidents. Now, what's the definition of a dissident? And the problem is that we're going to enslave ourselves because most of the people want to keep having food coming in, and you're going to follow the line. You're just walking yourself into your own prison camp. Then we're going to come down to the extermination, just like World War II.
It was our conclusion, based on 250 interviews with academics, scientists, intelligence, military, and political officials, that it is more likely than not that a weapon of mass destruction will be used someplace in the world prior to the end of the year 2013. We also found that it was more likely that that weapon would be biological than nuclear. We also found that our margin of safety has been diminishing.
That for the first time in human history, for the first time in all of human history, almost all of mankind is politically awake. And these new and old major powers face still yet another novel reality, in some respects unprecedented. And it is that while the lethality of their power is greater than ever, their capacity to impose control over the politically awakened masses of the world is at a historical low. I once put it rather pungently, and I was flattered that the British Foreign Secretary repeated this, as follows. Namely, in earlier times, it was easier to control 1 million people, literally. It was easier to control 1 million people than physically to kill 1 million people. Today, it is infinitely easier to kill 1 million people than to control 1 million people. It is easier to kill than to control.
They're all numbered, huh? One. But these are kind of smaller than the other ones, right? Oh, dude. It looks like they got a bunch of them. Look, they're all that.
All of it, huh? You're filming it?
Yeah. It's all on film right here.
Yeah, get that.
This is good footage.
These things are huge, though.
Yeah, you can fit. You could fit more. Well, it looks like you could fit maybe 4 coffins in one of those. Or shit, you could at least fit 30 bodies in one. Piled up, right?
Yeah. Everything goes down, huh? get like a ski on. Kind of muddy down here though.
Oh, fuck that. Man.
Looks like they're gonna
Yeah, they're about.
recovery. What is the excuse for having this?
Yeah,
We must be walking on something.
I think they're. Yeah, they already started covering it up, huh? You think?
Looks like it, huh?
Kind of feels a lot more solid over here.
Mount Weather. Well, we have a training facility there. We have an area there where in a disaster, we have 3 parts of the country where people can call in if they've been impacted by a disaster, can call an 800 number, and they can actually register for disaster assistance. We call it a teleregistration center. And that we have one of those out in Mount Weather, and we have one on the in Maryland, and we have one in Denton, Texas as well.
Is it public record, and therefore can you tell me how many people can be safely put into the underground bases that exist in the United States?
No.
Can you tell me why you can't tell me?
No.
But FEMA must know the figure of how many people it can store underground in the event of a nuclear attack.
I don't know the answer to that question.
At a 1991 closed-door meeting of fellow internationalists, billionaire and former CFR chairman David Rockefeller praised his media allies. But his confidence that his words would not leave the room was later broken.
We are grateful to the Washington Post, the New York Times, Time Magazine, and other publications whose directors have attended our meetings and respected their promises of discretion for almost 40 years. It would have been impossible for us to develop our plan for the world if we had been subject to the bright lights of publicity. But the world is now more sophisticated and prepared to march toward a world government.
Rockefeller's role in the drive for an FTAA was a lot more central than he portrays. Rockefeller cultivated Latin American leaders who could be counted on to support such a proposal. Both the 1994 Miami Summit and the FTAA proposal were conceived and nurtured by a Rockefeller-created network. Prominent among the organizations sponsoring the Miami event were the Council of the Americas, founder and honorary chairman David Rockefeller, the Americas Society, chairman David Rockefeller, the Forum of the Americas, founder David Rockefeller, the Institute for International Economics, financial backer and board member David Rockefeller, the Trilateral Commission, founder and honorary chairman David Rockefeller. Rockefeller's influence also extends to the current administration.